Hello, my internet friends. My name is Katie Obi10, and this is the premiere commentary for Dance with the Stars Season 25. This was a solid start to this landmark season. I had high hopes for some, and low expectations for others. There were a couple that I was right about. It's interesting that only one judge can be allowed to critique one couple and have the other two deliver tidbits during scoring. I don't know how long that's going to last, but it's just odd that we're starting out like that. I thought the opening number was pretty damn good. Not as spectacular as past openings, but it was still strong. So, without any further delay, let's discuss the new blood and see how they did. Starting out the night was terrible. You know what? I'm just gonna call him T.O. for this season. He wasn't lying when he said everyone has expectations for football guys to do well. I'm basically in the same category. In my opinion, if you don't do well in the first stands, you either have to redeem yourself or you're gonna be history. Cheryl means business this time around for her 20th season. I think she's really determined to get another trophy to her name, which is pretty good. T.O. had a good start. He just looked a bit slow, and maybe that's because of the music selection. I mean, come on, the Temptations for a cha-cha? No, that didn't work out. I have to say that he has to sharpen his hip action and his feet, and perhaps he can go far. This wasn't a bad start for T.O., but I just wanted more than what I saw. Lyme disease is truly a horrible disease, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So, for Debbie Gibson to come out to the ballroom and show the audience what she's still capable of is truly remarkable. Alan showed her off as an elegant woman, and I am pleased with how their journey has started. I was in awe with the way Debbie extended her arms. She soared like a bird. I'm with Bruno with wanting to explore their partnership more than with other dances. I think I said that right. Anywho, she did great, but she just seems so good to be true. Like, she can't be that amazing. But if she nails other dances, then we might see another contender on the horizon. Well, it could have been worse, but it wasn't incredible. And that's no secret. Whether it was her nerves or not, Sasha did not do a great job. Her shimmying wasn't stellar. There was a lack of hip action. Gleb was just dancing around her. Funny how she said that her parents were professional dancers. Clearly, that didn't translate to the ballroom. At least she's not another Erica Jane. But then again, I may have spoken too soon. But let's see. Carrie Ann called her out on being ahead of the music, and she was absolutely correct. I hate to say it, but for me, Sasha was one of the worst ones out of the night. Drew has great energy, and that suits who Emma is perfectly. They are pretty much in sync, which is kind of a bonus. You know what I would really love? If Jonathan and Drew did an old switcheroo on Emma, that'd be amusing. I will note that he was ahead of the music, and there were a couple of times where he stumbled and kind of screwed up. But you know what? It's week 1, and I think he can make a strong comeback next week. He could definitely move, just has to work on being more sharp. I can't wait to see more from him and Emma. We have found our comedienne in Barbara. She kind of reminds me of Cloris Leachman, but she also has the raunchy vibe of the late Florence Henderson. She has this cougar vibe with the male pros, and who the hell would blame her for that? People say she's on the same level as Charo, but I disagree. Barbara is my spirit animal this season. She could definitely move, which is great, but there was lack of content. There was no hint of salsa anywhere. Well, there was, but not that much. Perhaps she could come back strong and prove everyone wrong? I really do want to see more of her, but if she gets voted off next week, I'll take what I can get. I find it very fascinating that Jordan doesn't want to come out and say, "Oh, I'm a Disney kid." He only brings up his experience with Hamilton. You would think he would brag a bit about his past credentials. With his Hamilton background, people have extremely high expectations of him. Not much of a surprise to anyone, Jordan did fantastic with the tango. The only thing I can note is he has a lot of pressure to nail his dances every week, considering a lot of people are calling him the Reiner for the season. The way I see it, there are 2 outcomes for Jordan. He could either make it to the finale, or he could be the shocking elimination of the season. I just hope he enjoys his time on the show and just relaxes. Lindsay is incredible, and I would love to see what more she could do with Jordan. Honestly, I wanted to drink wine when the Lachey Chmerkovskiy happy hour happened. To my dismay, I had none. Watching this shit sober was really fucking hard. I cringed when I saw Drew Lachey over there just coddling his mirror ball and rubbing it in his brother and sister-in-law's faces. None of that was necessary. Another thing that wasn't necessary was bringing the troupe out during a Pia Murgatroyd performance. She's a feisty dancer on her own terms. She probably had them dance with her and Nick to make him look good. He did okay, but it wasn't up to par of what I was expecting. There wasn't enough hip action. His legs were wonky. I think I was wanting more, but I couldn't be too sure. In general, Nick was stiff. I'm torn on what I really think of Vanessa. I want to believe she can be a contender, but at the same time, I don't think she's well known enough to stay in this competition. She dances better than Nick, that's a given, but the whole shtick with the strollers and the baby carriages was a bit too much. Like, I get the Lacheys and the Chmerkovskiys are parents, but you don't see Nick and Peta putting anything parent-related into their routine. I think my problem with Vanessa is that she's been lacking her own identity for so long. She's just been used to saying, "Oh, hey, I'm Mrs. Nick Lachey," or "Hey there, I'm also the mother of Nick Lachey's kids." I want to see who she was before marriage and children, if that person is still in there. In this competition, it can be done, but it takes a bit to get there. As we previously discussed in my cast reveal video, I didn't have high hopes for Frankie because of how Whitney's teaching has been lately. But this week, they really shocked the hell out of me. I didn't know what I was truly expecting, but I didn't expect what they delivered. Oh my god, Frankie is flexible. He has great fluidity in his arms. The way he moved mesmerized me. This performance made me want to believe Whitney can be a fantastic dancer again. This was one of my favorite dances of the night, and who would have thought Frankie Muniz could bring a tear to my eye? Plus, great job on the song choice. I love Harry Styles. Wham! Bam! Thank you, ma'am. Nikki Bella has entered the ring. One of these days, John Cena is gonna have to show up to support his lady. Nikki has great posture, although she needs to work a little bit on her arms. I think she can be a strong contender, and she's proved it so far. But was anyone worried that John Cena was gonna come after Bruno for that 6? No, I'm just kidding. I loved every bit of this performance. Nikki and Brie proved that they are more than just being the Bella twins, and I think this show will definitely help Nikki out more with her own self-journey. P.S. Her body slamming art was the greatest thing to have out of the night. I'm literally obsessed with this pair, and I want to see them go far. Call me crazy, but I don't know if Derek is going to give this show 100% of his time. Shauna has had an NBA player seasons ago, and that obviously didn't end well. I mean, do you remember she got voted off first? This pairing is sort of a mixed match. He has a ton to improve on. His hips need work, his feet definitely need the work. I think the only thing I enjoyed from Derek was his mama. I didn't see much salsa content. It just disappointed me. Back to the drawing board, guys. For the first time in a long time, a celebrity partner of Val's actually surprised me for the first week. I loved Victoria's outlook on life now that she's been given a second chance. This could probably change Val's perspective for the better. She started off good, but gradually got a tad bit slower in the middle, and then she worked her way up from getting better at the end. With her not being able to feel her feet, I noticed that she was on her tiptoes more instead of putting her feet firmly on the ground. She's gonna have to watch out for that. I also noticed that there was some slight jumping. This could probably factor in her not having any feeling from the waist down. At least Val is trying to create something new. I think Victoria has great potential, and I do want to see more from her. Well done. And closing out the night was my dream team. I knew that Lindsay and Mark were going to blow my mind, but never in my wildest dreams did I think they were going to make me lose my shit. They were in sync, there was tons of hip action, which I greatly missed from Mark. As previously stated, he and Lindsay are both creative in their own rights. This is a match made in heaven. To be honest, I was really surprised that Lynn was all for the hip-hop section in their cha-cha. We all know he's been a stickler for tradition. Perhaps he's finally loosening up. And for him to say that that was the best dance of the night for him, that really surprised me. Maybe he missed Mark's creative vision as much as everyone else has. This was a stellar performance for Lindsay, and a hell of a way for Mark to come back after being gone for a year and a half. I'm 100% on board with Team Stark. Next week, we're having a 2-night affair with the show. And by that, I'm meaning that we're doing the same element as seasons before, eliminating someone on Monday and Tuesday night. Barbara isn't necessarily the weakest link, but judging on her scores, she could be in jeopardy next week. I really have no idea who the first 2 couples will be exiting the ballroom, and that kind of makes me anxious in the good and bad way. So sound off in the comments below. What did you guys think of this season's premiere night? Who are your favorites? Who didn't impress you? Who do you think will be the 2 couples to go home? If you guys enjoyed this week's video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel and you want to see more of me in the future, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be alerted when I upload new content. Until next week, take care everybody!